Hello and welcome in to another edition of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com, presented by No Vape Idaho. Be smart, don't start. We are coming to you live on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Facebook page, and Twitter account. You can also watch the replay of this anytime you want at those three destinations, or you can listen to the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com or wherever you download and subscribe to podcasts. This is your weekly one-stop shop of District 5 and 6 happenings. My name is Brandon Baney, and we check in with our East Idaho resident and expert, Sean Kane. What's up?
Not too much. Just happy to be here. It's sunny out. Basketball's going on. We're ready to dig into some district tournaments. It's a fun time of year for me. I don't know about you, but
I mean, this is the time of year where I undergo a name change, Sean. I no longer
Triple B. It's Triple B. That's I might have saw somewhere. That's Triple B.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the drive-ins, diners, and it's kind of like that. You're the Guy Fieri of high school sports.
I'm the Guy Fieri of high school sports. I love it. Yeah, Triple B, diners, drive-ins, and dives. That's going to be the title here. Okay.
I mean, that's what we could do. It could be like, are they a dive? Are they drive-in?
Oh no, I'm not going there. No way, right. Jose. This is the time of year where I cease being Brandon Baney. I become Brackets Baney, or as Logan coined me earlier today, Bulletin Board Baney, because I'm always providing that good bulletin board material. Sean, you've got a shout out from Sam Buffington.
Hey,
Sean.
Wow. I've got one fan. But yeah, thanks. He's always posting good stuff, and he was a big fan of Addie Butler, volleyball player at Utah Tech, and she's doing well. And her younger brother's going to play some tennis in the spring, so there's no lack of Butlers in the Century area.
No doubt. Sam is like me; he lives in North Idaho, so now, we'll see each other at different. I know it's a big game if Sam's there. I know I've made a good choice in where I've chosen to go if Sam's there, because he goes to the big high profile events. So yeah, thanks for watching, Sam. And anybody else that's watching and wants to contribute to the conversation, you can drop it in the comments and we will throw it up on the screen. And look at this. Sam says, I just talked to Addie. So there you go.
Boom. I knew it.
Okay, perfect. Before we get to the girls hoops, though, let's quickly stop down on what happened in wrestling and boys basketball over the past week. We got to start with, speaking of Sam up north, the North Idaho Rumble took place this past week, Sean, in Coeur d'Alene. And who was the champion? Was it Class 5A Coeur d'Alene on their home floor? No, it was not. Was it Class 4A Caldwell with a strong contingent? No, it was not. It was the Class 3A American Falls Beavers coming all the way north and doing the job, Sean. They finished with 214.5 points. They edge out Caldwell by 1.5 points for the team title. Way to go, Beavs.
Yeah, just amazing. Anytime you have to go up against those bigger classifications, it's unreal feat. So yeah, big time congratulations to American Falls, and always a strong wrestling program, but really solidify it right there with that performance. And they got to feel good about state coming up with that, right? I mean, if you can go do that, you got to start feeling good. You got to start, warming up those buses.
I mean, honestly, District 5 for 3A wrestling, Marsh Valley is really tough. Yeah. American Falls is good. Snake River is good. It's going to be a really interesting district tournament for sure. Your individual champions from American Falls, Mason Aiken at 138 and Blaze Turner at 182. So way to go there, guys. And then on the girls' side, we did have a pair of American Falls girls reach the finals. American Falls finished tied for 7th on the girls' side of things. Kinsey Williams got to the finals at 114, and Courtney Hunt got to the finals at 132. So way to go, American Falls, all the way around. Pocatello came up to this wrestling competition as well. Pocatello finished with 74 points on the boys' side, and on the girls' side, Pocatello finished with 59. So kind of middle of the pack there for both the Pokey boys and girls there in wrestling. So nice job for everybody involved.
Yeah. And wrestling's coming to the end too. These two sports, basketball and wrestling, can kind of come to the end, and it's gonna be some crazy finishes for districts.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty quiet week of wrestling competition. There's the Jaybird tournament, which is the kind of the premier girls wrestling tournament happening this weekend. But originally that was supposed to take place a couple weeks ago, and it got moved because of bad weather. And so really most teams are kind of taking this week a little slower, and then they're going to sprint to the finish line. So yeah, a lot of good wrestling still to come. So we were talking Pocatello wrestling. How about Pocatello boys basketball? They took on Madison pretty recently in a really entertaining 5A, 4A matchup. Both really good teams, both expected to get to state. Madison may have a little easier of a path than Pocatello just because they get 1.5 bids and Pocatello league gets 1. That's been well documented. But the fact that Madison won didn't surprise us, Sean. It was the margin of victory that really, opened my eyes. And we knew Madison was good, but are they good enough to challenge Big Bad Hawaii at that 5A state tournament?
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, that's the question, right? Madison took on Hawaii early in the year, December 16th, and lost 85-66. So that score's kind of, that's not the score you want against the team you're going to see. But this game against Pocatello, man, I went back and watched that game, and I thought, I wanted to see how Madison, because that final score is just kind of crazy to me. I thought this would be a really good game, and Madison was just kind of able to control the whole game, and just really strong performance of team basketball. And so, it's a good job by the Bobcats, because we all know Pocatello is no slouch. They can compete, any day with a lot of 5A teams, no problem. So that's a good win, and it's kind of a good measuring stick as they head towards their district tournament, because Pocatello is probably stronger than some of their opponents they're going to have to play in districts.
Yeah, and I will say the one caveat for Madison there was they had just put everything they possibly had. It was the third day game in 3 days against against Hawaii. The night before, they were playing at one time a nationally ranked Corona Centennial team from California that's got like 3 or 4 top 100 players in this recruiting class. And they put everything they had into that game and fell 58-51. I think they were just out of gas for that Hawaii game. I will say last year at state, Sean, the 5A state tournament, it was kind of the same thing. Lake City came in as this big overwhelming favorite. The only team that played them close was Madison. Madison was within, that 8 to 12 point range for most of the game. They were within striking distance. The thing with Madison last year was they really didn't play many guys. They went with their 5 starters. The 6th guy occasionally came in, but it was really those 5. A couple of those guys are back, of course. Nash Humphreys, fantastic point guard. Chase Crane is a good senior. Barrett Wilson, but they call him Bear, the 6'6" senior.
Yeah, he gets up for some good dunks, and he's kind of like their big guy. And when you look at Madison, they're not this overly tall team, right? But Wilson plays like a 7-footer sometimes, the way he flies through the air.
Yeah, he's a fun guy to watch for sure. And so, yeah, we'll just have to keep an eye on Madison here, as they're 14-2. Their only losses were to Corona Centennial and Hawaii at that Hawaii Classic back in December. And keep up the good work for Pocatello. Hey, you lost to Madison. There's no shame in that. A lot of good teams have. What they're focused on is Friday night against Preston. After falling at the pit earlier this year, they have to go to Preston and earn a win just to split the regular season title. And then the tiebreaker, Sean, I'm not sure how that gets determined. I'm assuming it's like a point differential. Does that sound right?
I think they use max preps.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know. And they flip-flop a bunch of times in the last couple of weeks in max preps. I think, don't quote me that it's max preps, but I believe that's what they used. Because I don't know if they have enough teams with the common opponent teams. It could be common opponent teams and then max preps. There's usually, but it seems to switch every year what they use. But I'll get clarification on that.
Okay.
When we come back, I'll get the for sure answer. But yeah, regardless, it's like one of the biggest games, on the schedule. You got top 2 teams, out of the 3 teams, Hillcrest, obviously, Preston, Pocatello, and 4A. I mean, this is a game everyone's going to be watching, regardless of the outcome. For me, if Preston wins, that's kind of home court, and I think it's hard to go down to Franklin County and win 2 games. But it's also hard to go to the pit and win 2 games, right? As Preston found out last year. So I think Preston would like to, reverse that role and make Pocatello have to come win at their place twice.
Yeah, if it's Max Preps, Pocatello, and this is all moot if Pocatello doesn't win. They have to win this game just to have a shot. If it's Max Preps, Pocatello is 6th among all Idaho schools right now. 20.6 is their rating. Preston is 12th, 17.7. But you figure, I don't know how the calculus changes or anything there. If it's margin of victory, Preston only beat Pokey by 1 when they played at the pit.
Yeah.
So, any type of win for Pokey would kind of tilt it in their favor, you would think. So I don't know. Bottom line, though, is Pocatello has to win this rematch. Sean, what did we talked about it when the game actually occurred, but let's revisit because you watched it. What did Preston do to take Pocatello out of their comfort zone? We know Pocatello had a couple shots at the end. I think Kessler Vaughn had a couple looks at the game.
And Drew Contreras had 2 shots.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you have a shot at the end, you've got to get Julian Bowie the ball. I mean, I think you live or die by that. And maybe it just didn't draw up that way. But what I think Preston does really well is Cruz Harris has done really well inside. I don't know what he's listed at, like 6 something, like not very far from 6 foot, but he plays really big. And I think he did a great job kind of closing down Gage Ontiveros from Pocatello. And physically they closed the lane. Then they kind of let Pocatello shoot. And if Pocatello's hot that night, it could be trouble. But if they weren't going to let him have any easy baskets inside, Bowie still had, I think, 20 points or so in that game. He's going to get his points. I think, can you shut down the other guys? Kessler Vaughn, Drew Contreras, Parker Smith. They've got a lot of weapons, and if those guys aren't having a big game and it's all on Bowie, I think that's what Preston does well, is just the team defense. And they're physical. I think Preston's a very physical team this year. Last year, I didn't think they were as physical when they played Pocatello, and this year they're physical, and they're not going to give it to you for free. And I think that was kind of the difference. But for Pocatello, I think if they shoot a little better, I mean, you're in trouble. I don't think you want to be in a track race, right? Preston knew if they kept the game low scoring, which I think 50 points for Pocatello is probably one of their lowest games, right? If you keep it below 50, you're in that game. But if Pocatello's scoring in the 60s and you have to trade shots with them, I think that's where you get into trouble if you're Preston.
Yeah. In Preston, of course, against certain opponents, they'll put that press on to try and speed the other team up and force them into mistakes. But if it's an opponent they respect, like a Hillcrest or a Pocatello recently, they'll typically stay away from that because, like you said, you don't want to get in a track meet with those guys. You kind of want to make it a half court game, and so
because honestly, if you get going in that transition, Pocatello's just got too many shooters. Someone will be open, right? If you're going quick and transition, and someone's going to be open, and if someone can get hot, you're in trouble. Because I think that's where Thunder's really, really good. We know Bowie's great. He's a great player, but when those other guys get hot on the perimeter, it's difficult because then you've got to get out and guard, and it's going to open up at a little more inside for Ontiveros down low.
Yep. So that'll be the game Friday night.
Pocatello. No, the one I'm at will be the game, but.
Oh, okay. Who did Century play Friday?
No, the game I'm doing for Idaho Sports for us.
Oh,
wow.
Gotcha.
No, that will be a good game, but yeah, I think that's definitely the one everyone will be focusing in on.
Yeah, just so you know, coming up here on IdahoSports.com, we have tonight, Wednesday night, Rigby versus Thunder Ridge on the boys' side, battle for second place behind Madison in the 5A High Country Conference. And then we've got a double dip for you on Friday night, February 2nd. Let me double check. Yeah, Friday. We have Firth and North Fremont doing battle in the 2A nuclear conference, which should be really good. And then the game you'll be at, Madison and Thunder Ridge, from the Thunderdome. I don't know what they call their gym, but
I'll have to find out. I've been there a bunch of times, but I've never been in the gym. So
yeah. And then Saturday we're looking at Sugar Salem and Filer. So a little Magic Valley, East Idaho bleed over. So that'll be an interesting ball game there as well. So if you want to see the full schedule of games that we are doing on IdahoSports.com, you can click on the game streams tab on the homepage and go from there. Okay, now it's time to break down the brackets for girls district action. Right after this word from our sponsors at No Vape Idaho.
It's not like I'm doing drugs.
Nicotine can negatively impact the developing brain and make it more susceptible to other addictive substances. Students that vape are 3 times more likely to start smoking weed. And kids who share vapes can unknowingly inhale other drugs like THC, meth, or fentanyl, causing permanent lung damage, overdose, and even death. Be smart, don't start.
This is the East Idaho Prepcast presented by No Vape Idaho on IdahoSports.com. Be smart, don't start. Sean, I love what No Vape Idaho is doing. They're taking the fight to the streets, so to speak. The streets being social media. These vaping companies are pumping millions and millions of dollars into targeted marketing and advertising to teenagers across the nation. And so how do you fight that? You've got to get on social media and market your message just as effectively.
Yeah, and that's where the youth are at, right? They're on social media, and that's the battleground now for attention and really anything. So it's almost a have to more than you need to at this point.
Yes. It'll be very interesting for sure to see this battle continue on. But No Vape Idaho doing great things. You can type in No Vape Idaho. That's no with a K, K-N-O-W, No Vape Idaho into your favorite web browser and go from there. Okay, before we get to girls hoops, I forgot. We have a couple of boys basketball highlights queued up here. So definitely want to get to those. Speaking of boys hoops, Joel Richardson, he's going to be at Thunder Ridge tonight for that Thunder Ridge Rigby contest. He says, Thunder Ridge is going to be lit tonight and Friday, but it's Madison and then everyone else in that conference. Yeah, no disagreements. That's why I think the game you're going to be doing tonight, Joel, is very intriguing. Rigby and Thunder Ridge, who really is that second fiddle. And
I'll be honest, I think even Highland, out of those 3 teams, I think Highland could too possibly come out of that. I think between those 3 teams, I think it's very close. When I've watched all of them at this point, and I wouldn't throw Highland out of the mix either when it gets down to that district tournament. So it's going to be very tough for that second spot, as right now Madison's kind of sitting at the top.
Yeah, that's true. Highland is a team I kind of forgot about a little bit, Sean. They, of course, got to state last year, right? Matt Stuckey did a phenomenal job at his first year as head coach getting Highland to state. They did beat Rigby last Thursday, 44-40, or a couple Thursdays ago. So they did get a tight 4-point win over Rigby. They still have to play Madison twice. So they've lost to Thunder Ridge. They've beaten Rigby. They just lost to Preston by a point, 61-60. Yeah, this is a Highland team that's good. I guess I'm thinking more Rigby and Thunder Ridge because those are places we can go broadcast. And so those are teams that are at top of my Highland kind of, if we're not there covering it, kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Well, I'll give them. I'll shout them out because they've been playing pretty well, and Matt Stuckey doing a great job, and they also they don't have a gym, so yes. They travel everywhere, go everywhere, and everyone at Highland doing a really good job with the backing of Travis Bell, the AD up there. I've helped them out with a few things when they've had games at Century, so credit to them for competing at that level with the circumstances they've been dealt.
Yes, for sure. And Joel agrees with us. Yep. And he's laughing because of, what I said 2 seconds ago. So anyways, I got in trouble a couple shows ago, Sean. I put my foot in my mouth with something I said here on the East Idaho Prepcast. I don't want to go down that road again.
Uh-oh.
So you got to stop me when I'm saying stuff. So,
yes, I will make sure to. Can I get a buzzer like around the horn to like stop you?
Right. Okay. We have some basketball highlights queued up here, Sean. The first one is from Century's game with Jerome. Century and Jerome played a couple nights ago. Very close game. Century wins 53-50, right? Did I get that right?
Yep.
Okay, 53-50. It came down to basically a shot at the very end. Sean, I'm going to show the clip, and then you take us through it.
Okay. All right.
Those are good play-by-play skills there.
Oh, I didn't know if I was waiting for it to end because last time you couldn't hear me talk.
Yeah, no.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead and talk.
Okay, I got it now.
Yeah.
All right, there's about 12 seconds left, but there's only 4 seconds on the shot clock for Century, and Adrian Gonzalez, number 10, at double clutches a 3-pointer there, which essentially seals the game as Jerome isn't able to get a shot to go down at the end. But what's important to see from that, they'd called timeout, or I can't remember, it happened before, but there's only 4 seconds left, and he hits that double clutch 3, and he's a sophomore. So big time game for Adrian Gonzalez to hit that as a sophomore, and he's a fun, fiery little guy player, good football player as well.
Yeah, it was really fun to see there. And now we've got a couple of highlights from what I like to call the Teague Matthews collection. This is, of course, a couple of Rockland highlights here. A couple of Abe Held to Teague Matthews dunks, if you will. These were sent in by a Rockland fan. Here is the first one, Sean. And he throws up the oop to Teague. Going to play D1 football, but he's trying to get Rockland back to state as well in basketball. This next one comes from a student broadcast, and I'm not sure if it's Rockland or Taylor's Crossing. That's who they were playing, but here is our second clip. This is on a fast break. Again, it's Abe Held to Teague Matthews.
It's not there, so he kicks out to 11, but the pass is deflected. Teague Matthews passes the ball to Abe. Oh! Abe gives a nice alley-oop to Teague, and Teague dunks it.
And that was Teague Matthews to Abe, back to Teague Matthews. He got the steal, rebound, and then dunk. So he did a little bit of it all right there.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Let's take a look at this one more time here.
It's not there, so he kicks out to 11, but the pass is deflected. Teague Matthews passes the ball to Abe. Oh! Abe gives a nice alley-oop to Teague, and Teague dunks it.
So they were pitching a shutout, 14-0 in the first quarter. And then I love that bulldog on the wall that's busting out, and there's the cinder blocks coming out at the Rockland gym.
What's the one in northern Idaho? They have one. Is it the
Orofino?
Yeah, that's the one I like too. That's busting out. That one's good too.
Yeah, the Orofino Maniac, which if you haven't seen the logo for Orofino, you can see it on our website, IdahoSports.com. Just click on the schools page and click Orofino, but it's that kind of deranged guy with the crazy hair, and
he's made a few poor life choices, but still has a job.
Yes, and then he is same thing, busting out, and there's bricks flying everywhere in the Orofino gym. It's pretty cool to see, for sure. So yeah, there's some boys basketball highlights there. Keep them coming. If you've got a cool video you want us to highlight here on the Prepcast, you can just email it to Brandon at IdahoSports.com. We'll put it on the show for you. All right, Sean, it is time to take a look at the girls basketball district tournament brackets. Here's what I'm going to do. For those that are watching on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Facebook page, or Twitter account, I'm going to share my screen, and you'll be able to see the brackets as we go through them. Maybe make your player full size so you can read the brackets a little easier. If you're listening audio only, it's all good. We have all the district tournament brackets on the homepage at IdahoSports.com. Let's start with the smallest and work our way up, because we got to give a shout out to that Rocky Mountain Conference, 1AD2. They're always the first league to get it started here in Idaho. Their first games were this time last week, Sean. We were talking about it, the 2 play-in games. Number 7 Water Springs beats number 10 American Heritage 42-15. Number 8 Taylor's Crossing beats the Bobcats from number 9 Clark County 50-9. So they both move into the double elimination portion of the bracket. And then on Saturday, these were the only district games happening on Saturday as well, Sean. We had the first round pretty much all chalk. Number 1 Mackey beats Taylor's Crossing 49-19. Number 2 Leadore beats number 7 Water Springs 46-17. Number 3 Rockland beats number 6 Showban 44-25. The one upset came in that 5-4 matchup. Grace Lutheran, the 4 seed at home, falls to the 5 seed North Gem 41-37. So here's what we've got tonight for you. Wednesday, January 31st. Loser out game, Taylor's Crossing at Grace Lutheran, 7 o'clock. Loser out game, Water Springs at Showban, 7:30 tonight. And then on the winner's side of the bracket, semifinals here, it is number 5 North Gem at number 1 Mackey tonight at 7 o'clock, and number 3 Rockland at number 2 Leadore tonight at 5 o'clock in Leadore, because it takes so long to get to Leadore. They're going to tip that game off early so Rockland can get home at a decent hour. That's the game I'm looking at right there, Rockland and Leadore. These 2 teams played at the very end of the regular season for essentially who was going to take second, who was going to finish third, and it was Leadore who picked up the win in that game and got the number 2 seed over Rockland. And now we'll see if they can do it twice in a row. Big advantage getting to host Rockland. Rockland's got to make a very long trip. That game in the regular season, Sean, went to overtime, and Leadore pulled it out 36-32 in OT. What do you think happens in the rematch?
Oh, man. Yeah, that's the one that jumped out to me as well, as Leadore versus Rockland. I don't know. I kind of have a feeling like it's Leadore's year. Like, we've kind of been talking about them for a couple years now, and I kind of feel like they're ready to kind of make that final push and get to state. But Rockland's hard to count out, but I do like having Leadore having the home court advantage, and you just kind of got that feeling like this is the year they're kind of going to have that breakthrough we've been talking about.
Yeah, so Leadore has gotten to state the past couple of years, but they're looking to go to state now and make some noise, and I do think if they can get there, this 1AD2 bracket has some good teams, but I also think there's a lot of unknowns in the statewide 1AD2 landscape this year. So either way you slice it, you can find on IdahoSports.com, top of the homepage, every morning, Sean, I will do an updated bracketology post. I'll go over the big results from the previous night of district action, update how I am projecting the tournament field. It's strictly my opinion. I've got 3 teams moving on to state: Mackey, Leadore, Rockland. In that order, I've got Mackey and Leadore meeting in the championship and both qualifying for state via auto bids. The 3rd place finisher gets to challenge the champion from the north, which is going to be Clark Fork. That's what we saw in volleyball. Rockland and Clark Fork played in a play-in match. Rockland won that game. I think it happens in girls basketball too. I like all 3 teams to get to state. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be great for the conference to have all 3 teams there. It'll be pretty exciting. But this game tonight, that's the big one. That's when you got to circle, and to watch all the Rocky Mountain Conference games, you've got to have like the Rocky Mountain ticket or something, because there's they have a ton of games tonight. Jeez.
And it is a large geographic footprint.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going from all the way up to Du Bois, which is about an hour from the Montana border over there, all the way down south to Bancroft, which is where North Gem is in the southeast part of the state, and then all the way over to Rockland in the southwest part of the state. And then you got to go over into the mountains, west of Idaho Falls to get to Leadore and to get to Mackey. So This is a very large geographical footprint of this Rocky Mountain Conference for sure. Yes. And whoever wins these games tonight, Mackey, North Gem, Leadore, Rockland, they win, they clinch, Sean.
They're in. Yeah. So that's why I think it's so big. Like you're in, man. If you get the job done tonight, no matter what, you've kind of punched your ticket, and then you're kind of fighting to get in the back way. But yeah, tonight's huge for all the teams. North Gem, Mackey. I mean, who knows? You never know. There always could be an upset, but Mackey's played really well this year, so it'd be hard to see that happen at this point.
Yeah, Mackey 14-6. They went 8-0 in league play. They did play North Gem once this year. They won 56-28. Oh, they played twice, and then they won the rematch 52-21. So, North Gem could come out, but I kind of like Mackey to move on there. Yeah. But very exciting night of basketball. Our first official bids to state will be clinched tonight amongst these 4 teams. How
that's
exciting!
Cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's go 1A D1 High Desert Conference. These games are taking place at Thunder Ridge High School. Little neutral site action. I love it. There are 4 teams now, Sean. This used to be 3 teams, but Alturas Prep added basketball for the first time this year. They had to play number 1 Grace right away. They fall 79-11. Number 2 Butte County and number 3 Chalice. This was a really good game. Pirates win by 10, 35-25. So you've got now on Saturday, Chalice and Alturas Prep in a loser out game, Grace and Butte County in the undefeated semifinal. 1 bid to state available from this district. I've projected Grace. They are kind of head and shoulders above the class.
Yeah, Grace definitely one of the best teams maybe in 181, right?
Yes.
You kind of have to like Grace going forward, and they'll have a good chance to make a run if they get through districts, but I would project Grace at this point as well.
Yep. So we'll keep an eye on that tournament. Certainly. Let's go to the 2A ranks. Let's go to the Nuclear Conference, District 6, the Nuke, because we've had the most action here. This is the weird, 5-team league where you get the double bye if you win in the first round. It's an interesting bracket for sure. So you had number 4 West Jefferson beat number 5 Salmon 61-30. And then you had number 2 Firth and number 3 Ryrie. Firth swept Ryrie in the regular season, Sean, but Ryrie goes to Firth and pulls it out 51-42. So because of that, Ryrie gets the bye all the way to the undefeated semifinal here, where they will play number 1 seed North Fremont. North Fremont beat West J last night 60-47. On the back half of the bracket, Firth beat Salmon in a loser out game 54-44. And now Firth will play West J Thursday night in another loser out battle. So those are the final 4 there. 1.5 bids to state available here. I like North Fremont to win this district. And then I've got, Ryrie and Firth, whoever survives there. For the moment, I've got Ryrie in my official bracketology since Ryrie already beat Firth. But either way, that play-in is going to be tough because it's against the second place team from District 5. And we'll get to that loaded bracket here in a second.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Ryrie and Firth are going to play a couple more times here. is what it's going to come down to. They're going to play again, and we're going to see what happens. But yeah, pretty exciting stuff. I kind of think Firth will find their way back. I'll go a different route than you this time.
Okay. Originally when I did the projections, I did have Firth, but then Ryrie beat them. And so, I got to course correct a little bit. Real quick, shout out to Salmon. They finished the season, Sean, with 6 players. Wow. And those 6 players were determined to keep the season going, right? They didn't want to shut the season down. They wanted to go fight and compete. And look at that. They pushed Firth last night. Firth, a team that's got 10, 11 players. Salmon with 6. They only fell by 10. Again, I think major kudos have to be given out to Salmon.
Yeah, then that's a quick turnaround, right? You played Monday, and then you're playing again Tuesday with 6 players. I know you're young, but to me, that's a really quick turnaround for that game. So, yeah, congratulations to Salmon to keep the season going, and that will just bode well for the program going forward because people will see that and remember that.
Yep, for sure. So a lot of exciting things happening in the Nuke. North Fremont and Ryrie will play on Thursday. Winner of that will advance to the district championship game. 2A District 5, the Southeast Idaho Conference here. Sean, we had our play-in game last night. Number 4 West Side, number 5 Aberdeen. Pirates win 55-36. Moving on up. Now we're to the double elimination part of the bracket. It's number 1 Soda Springs hosting number 4 West Side Thursday night at 7. Number 2 Bear Lake will host number 3 Malad, also Thursday night at 7. 1.5 bids to state available here. 3 really good, deserving teams, all ranked in the top 5, depending on where you're looking in terms of Idaho basketball rankings. I like Soda Springs to win the district tournament here. I've got Bear Lake edging out Malad for second. And then I've got Bear Lake winning that play-in game against, no matter what it is, Bear Lake, Malad, Ryrie, Firth. I think District 5 gets 2 teams to state.
Yeah, and we talked about this district the other day, and at one point it was kind of Malad was number 2. I was always kind of leaning towards Bear Lake, and Bear Lake ends up with the number 2 seed in the district. But yeah, I think this game tomorrow night, Bear Lake versus Malad, will be very, very interesting. I think Soda Spring played that hard schedule. We said, remember, don't look at their schedule or what their final wins and losses are. They're a tough team, and they'll probably come out of this one too. But yeah, that Bear Lake Malad game, very interesting on the docket Thursday night.
Yep. We will have to wait and see how that one shakes out. And kind of like Firth and Ryrie, Bear Lake and Malad are probably going to play at least one more time throughout this thing. So we will check in on that one a little bit later. All right, let's go 3A. District 5, Sean, Southeast Idaho Conference. We had our first game Tuesday night. Number 2, American Falls. Number 3, Marsh Valley. The Beavers get the 38-30 win. They will now play number 1 Snake River in the undefeated semifinal Thursday night at 7. The loser of that will play Marsh Valley and a loser out of fair. 1.5 bids to state here. I like Snake River to advance. I like American Falls to take second. And then they would have to play the second place team from District 6, which is going to be a tough task.
Yes, I would agree with you. I like Snake River, and that second team, I think it's going to be very hard to beat whoever comes out of the other district. I think those teams are just a little ahead, like the Bear Lake Malad are a little ahead of the second tier of this district. I would agree with you there.
So we will know more after Thursday. Of course, Snake River hoping that Riley Edlifson, their senior point guard, can come back at state, or maybe for districts. We'll have to wait and see. But Snake River still a very good team, even without Riley Edlifson, although their stock does drop a little bit with that loss. 3A District 6, Mountain Rivers Conference. Teton, the 1 seed, Sugar, the 2, South Fremont, the 3. Sugar hosting South Fremont last night in the tournament opener. They get a 48-37 win. Undefeated semifinal Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Sugar at Teton. They split in the regular season. We'll see. Is that sugar magic happening again, Sean?
Oh, I don't see Teton losing again to him, but I didn't think they would lose the first time either. So I don't know, man. It's such a hard one to predict. This Sugar team is young and really come on strong as late. At one point, they were the 3rd team in the district, right? Yeah. As they're going through the year, you're kind of like, yeah, I kind of forgot about them. They're the third team in this district, and now they're the 2nd seed. They beat North Fremont. I would imagine Teton is going to be up and ready for this game, and I'm going to go with Teton.
Okay. It'll be interesting. Teton did win the first matchup 64-46. Sugar got revenge about a week later, 65-55. So we will wait and see. South Fremont awaits the loser of that game in a loser out contest on Saturday. And again, doesn't matter. Teton, Sugar, what order they finish. I like both of those teams to get to state. One obviously via the state tournament play-in. 4A District 6 High Country Conference. Sean, we had the opening round last night. Number 3 Blackfoot beats number 6 Idaho Falls 67-32. It's number 4 Hillcrest over number 5 Bonneville by 10, 57-47. And now here are the games we really wanted to see. It's number 1 Shelley hosting number 4 Hillcrest Thursday at 7. And at the Taj McGrath Thursday night, number 2 Skyline hosting number 3 Blackfoot. Winners will move on to the district championship game. There are 2 bids available to state here. The winner and then whoever wins this 3rd place game down here on Saturday, February 10th.
I just want to be paid on every time we do a bracket and we have to say Skyline versus Blackfoot. Like, I feel like we'd be rich. Like state bracket, district. I feel like it's like inevitable at this point, right? Can we get paid by when those 2 teams play? But that's going to be a game that I can't make a prediction in that game. That's so hard for me to come up with who I think is going to win that game. I think both teams could play a lot of teams in the state if they made it to state. I think they're both really, really good, loaded with talent. So I don't even know what to say. I mean, Blackfoot, I think Blackfoot, just barely didn't win at Skyline. Skyline found a way to sneak through it. So yeah, I don't know. Who do you like? You always ask me. I'm going to ask you, who do you like? I can't pick. I guess I'm leaning a little Skyline because it's at home, but I don't think it matters. They played a bunch of times. They know each other. They probably, share lunches. I don't know.
Here's what I think, and this is what my official bracketology says. Shelley wins the district. Skyline takes second. Blackfoot, a very deserving third. Probably should be in above another team or two at state, but won't get there. Obviously, those three
could play.
I'll tell you this. If I'm Shelley, I think Shelley matches up with Skyline a little better than Blackfoot. So
I would agree after watching that game. Or after, doing the game in Shelley versus Blackfoot, I think Shelley would probably prefer to play Skyline. Yeah. But, I mean, they're going to have to play one of them, and they've had close games with both, but it's going to be at home, So, I like Shelley. I think whatever team doesn't make it, it's going to be a very tough pill to swallow. But if anything we know about District 6 brackets, the numbers don't mean anything. There's a lot of games. So, even if they don't win, what happens in that bottom part of that bracket, it'll be very interesting to see, because I have a strong feeling it'll be the same two teams. And
Joel Richardson says he'll pick Skyline. That checks out. His wife is a Skyline alum.
Oh,
so
wow.
There you go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I will say they did change this bracket a little bit, Sean. In years past, these two, the two teams that fell last night, Idaho Falls and Bonneville, would then play the losers of the semifinals, basically an extra game for whoever loses here. They've changed that now, where Bonneville and Idaho Falls play each other in a knockout game Thursday at 7. Winner of that then will play the lowest seeded loser here, which is probably going to be Hillcrest. And so whoever loses between Skyline and Blackfoot, it's kind of like chutes and ladders. They kind of get to take the ladder all the way here, where they're only one game away from being right back in the driver's seat. So the bracket does make it a little easier for the teams at the top if you are a team that loses in the semifinals. So I don't know. I like this bracket.
Well, yeah, we'll just have to see it pans out.
It's going to be a lot of fun, though. No doubt about it. That is all Thursday here in the High Country Conference. Let's go down to District 5, Southeast Idaho Conference. We had the tournament opener last night. We got the rematch we wanted so desperately in the regular season, Sean. Preston beat Century at Century's place, and then they were supposed to play in Preston. The game got postponed due to weather. Century, for some reason, couldn't make the game up. It goes down as a forfeit. So Preston gets the 2 seed. Century says, it's all good. We'll just come to your place and beat you when it counts. In the district tournament, they go down there last night. They win 44-37, the final score. It was a pretty impressive performance, I thought, by the Diamondbacks, considering they'd only played Preston once and had lost that contest previously. Really, first half is when all the points were scored. Century outscores Preston 18-16 in the second half as the offense is kind of, stalled out a little bit. Sophomore guard Eliza Vincent, Sean, averaging 1.5 points per game coming into this battle. She goes off for 16 for Century.
Yeah, and I don't, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think she was on the varsity roster for the first part of the season. Century dealt with they had 2 injuries to guards, Kennedy Osborne and Peyton Latin. Both were injured, and they had to move her up so they could have someone handle the ball. So I don't think was really playing any significant varsity minutes until the last quarter of the schedule. So yeah, she came out and was great at ball handling. So it was pretty cool to see that. Her kind of, I've seen her play since she was little, and just that's some big strides coming in a big pressure game down in Preston.
Yeah, Century now gets to go play Pocatello on Thursday in the undefeated semifinal. Loser of that will play Preston at home in a loser-out contest. We're thinking that's probably going to be Century at the Snake Pit hosting Preston. Pocatello is
good.
Really talented. Yes,
they're good. Pocatello is good. If you're in the Treasure Valley, Magic Valley, or North Idaho, they're good. You've been warned.
Pocatello is checks notes good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what and in fact, that's what when I talk to people about it, they just go, that girls team is good. And everyone's just can't believe Abby Lusk is only a sophomore. So
I know.
Think about that. If you get a chance to see her play, she's worth the price of admission, I think, just knowing that she's just a sophomore.
It's a fun team. We've talked about it ad nauseum, but Hoskison and Garza and
Taylor Rogers.
Yeah.
They've just got a ton of players that are capable of scoring and playing defense. So I like them to probably come out of this district and probably make some noise later at state.
Yep. We were talking about Joel picked Skyline to win the District 6 tournament. We said this because his wife was an alum. He says no bias. Okay, he's just playing it straight here. He's still going with Skyline there. All right, final one, Sean. District 5-6 High Country Conference for Class 5A. Opening round was last night. Number 1 Rigby beats number 4 Highland 56-22. Number 2 Madison over number 3 Thunder Ridge 55-41. So that sets up undefeated semifinal Thursday night. Rigby hosting Madison. Loser out game also Thursday night. Highland at Thunder Ridge. 1.5 bids available to state here. I think we both like Rigby to win the district. Madison would then have to play the 5th place team from over in District 3. And long story short, there's like 5 kind of really good teams over there this year. There's Boise, Rocky Mountain, Middleton, Owyhee, and Eagle. One of those 5 is going to have to play Madison. It's going to be tough for Madison or
whoever it is.
Could be Thunder Ridge, right? Either way, it would be really hard for them to win. Now, if Madison pulls the upset here and it's Rigby in this play-in game, that's a bummer for the Treasure Valley because I would like Rigby to advance. But
I watched the game last night, Rigby versus Highland, and Rigby is looking really good right now.
Yeah.
Don't let that score, Highland's not at the top where they have been before in girls basketball, but that score 56-22 is because Rigby is playing really, really good basketball right now. And I'm very excited to see what they're able to do at state.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see, can Madison spring the upset? We'll find out on Thursday. All right. Those are the brackets, Sean. We'll have more data, more info by this time next week when we do the show. We'll have some teams that have already locked up state tournament bids. How exciting.
That happens fast. Everyone will, say how I was wrong. It's great.
Yes, it does happen fast. That is for sure. So, all right. Big thanks to everybody who tuned in today here on the IdahoSports.com YouTube channel, Facebook page, and Twitter account. Sean, good luck Friday night at Thunder Ridge.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Madison live. I've seen Thunder Ridge live. Thunder Ridge is a tough team. There's just a bunch of tough dudes. That's how I'd put it. And they go out and play hard, and they got some good shooters. And of course, we already kind of talked about Madison. And I think it's a good kind of rivalry game that Thunder Ridge Madison's kind of turned into, and it'll be fun up in Thunder Ridge. And a good friend of the program, Travis Hobson, the AD, will be there. I told him to get the red carpet ready. I told him what snacks I like. he said he'd be setting up at 4 and they'd probably not see me, but anyways.
That's funny. Yeah, that's really good. This conference has been interesting in boys basketball, right? Where Madison was the team about 5 or 6 years ago, when then Thunder Ridge kind of came in with oh man, I'm drawing a blank on what the kid's name was. Really good guard, though, could really shoot it. And Thunder Ridge was there for a couple of years, and then it was Rigby's turn, right? Rigby kind of had a run, and now it's back to Madison, and really good competitive basketball up there in that High Country Conference.
Yeah, I think that second spot is I wouldn't be surprised if it was Highland at the end of the day too. Wouldn't be surprised with Thunder Ridge either. So that second spot will be very interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. Oh, that's driving me crazy on we did a big feature for him on IdahoSports.com right before I got hired full time. So Sean, is there any parting thoughts you have while I'm
well, actually,
research?
No, I think there's going to be a lot of good games. I think you got to circle Friday night Pocatello Preston boys basketball. We talked about that a little bit, but in the back of my mind, that's got a ton of implications and just a great game to go watch. And if you're in the Preston Franklin County area, right? I mean, that's a fun gym to go watch a game, and I think that'll be pretty interesting to see what happens. But did you figure it out?
Yes, Lawyer Driggs.
Okay.
Oh man,
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah. I had nothing. Like I couldn't think. I just kept thinking of like soccer players from Thunder Ridge, and I knew that wasn't it.
Yeah, Lawyer Driggs, great player, even better human. So yeah. Anyways. All right. Well, that'll do it then for the East Idaho Prepcast. Enjoy the competitions this week and weekend, everybody. Travel safe. We'll see you back here next week for another edition. For Sean Kane, I'm Brandon Baney. Thanks for tuning into the East Idaho Prepcast presented by No Vape Idaho on Idaho Sports.